It's time for Did You Watch It?
How does this show work? We watch what we like, we talk about what we watched, and maybe you'll like what you hear. I'm Liz.
I'm Isabel. Last night we watched episode 9 of The Bachelorette season 10. The show aired on Monday, July 14th, 2014. Here's what we thought about it.
Before we get started, I just have a random thought that I just feel the need to share.
Okay, what's that?
I need a house husband.
You need a house husband?
Yeah, you know, when you come home at the end of the day, it just takes so much time to figure out what you're going to eat, shop, shop and prepare, especially if you're trying to eat better, more healthy.
I understand. Well, perhaps we can get you on the next season of The Bachelorette.
Yeah, I'm too old for that. I think what I just need to do is get a personal chef who's reasonable and doesn't mind delivering meals to my door.
Well, there you go.
How's that? Then I wouldn't have all the other stuff that goes with it.
Well, that's the first step in that direction then.
Right.
And who knows what could happen from there,
Who knows? It could be a match made in heaven.
Did you notice that Andi was journaling? Maybe Marcus was to be her intended all along.
Oh my gosh,
but she let him go.
right?
I'm just kidding. I really think she might have just been making a list, like a pro-con list for each guy.
So, okay, I could see it. List of pros and cons. Okay, so we start the little summary with Josh.
He has a personality that every girl is attracted to.
Which I totally agree with. Ding, 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 ding. And I love that she said she can be her complete self with him.
I agree with that. And he's already seen that bratty side. She's already been that with him.
It's easy and natural. And I like the fact that she said he was a kind and compassionate guy and that she thought he would be a great father and a great husband. So I liked that.
Well, the only thing that she's scared of is the type of guys that she's gone for. And he is that type.
Yeah, and I can respect the fact that she wants to jump out of her norm, quote unquote, her type, and try to explore some new things with some different kind of guys. But let's face it, they just have this thing.
Oh, absolutely.
She has her guard up with him, and I just kind of want that guard to come down. Okay, so next they kind of do the Chris summary.
Farmer Chris!
Farmer Chris! I love him! He's amazing, sweet, lighthearted.
Definitely.
She loves the fact that he steps up for her.
He's always the go-to guy for her.
Right? A manly guy. He's romantic, sexy, mature. And I loved it when she said he was a grown man.
Well, hey, if she doesn't want him, I'll take him.
Right? Get in line, sister, like I said last week. I'm sorry. Chris is just the total package. I'm just pulling for Chris, man.
So they talk about Nick.
Yeah, the little Nick summary. And I hate to say it, but I sort of kind of checked out.
Me too!
Because I'm not into it.
Well, I remember all she said about him was that he stood out to her, though I'm not sure why. But she said something about him being shy and skeptical.
And the whole mental connection thing, again, with that, I just don't get it. What is it about him that stands out to her that doesn't stand out to us? I feel like she's getting to know a different guy than we're getting to know.
I don't know. I mean, she says that he's passionate.
And sweet and affectionate, and I'm thinking, okay, who is she talking about? Because she's not talking about the Nick that we know.
Well, maybe he's a good kisser, and that's what she thinks is passionate about him. I don't know.
Ugh, please. I'm sorry. If we want to compare kisses, Chris and Josh, hands down. Nick, boo.
No, Josh totally wins that competition.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then we get to Nick's date. And like I said, I'm just not into it. I guess I'm sick of hearing myself say that to you. But I can't help myself.
I guess the only big issue she had with him was that she needed to talk to him about the previous breakups.
Yeah.
And the fact that what the family told her and what he told her doesn't totally match up. But is that really the biggest issue?
With all the other stuff we've seen with Nick, I just don't see that as one of the main things that I would want to ask him or want to know. We've just seen so much schnikiness. He's full of himself, you know, all of that stuff. She's not seeing any of that.
No, she's not.
She's not clued in. And so what's this she said about having an adult romance with Nick?
Did she say that?
She totally said that. I'm thinking, what are you basing this on? The fact that he can't put a sentence together and tell you how he feels? How is that an adult romance?
I kind of zoned out with this date. I do remember to go in a helicopter, to go to some private island, to go spend the day at the beach, right?
Yes. They start talking about, like, she wants to know more about his breakups and his engagement that broke off, but I thought his answer was really interesting.
He said he was embarrassed or something, right?
He said it was more of an ego blow than anything else, and now he can look back on it and see that, but at the time, you know, he just had this huge reaction to it.
And for such an important, I mean, you just don't get engaged with anybody.
Right? If you're engaged to somebody, wouldn't you think you would talk about how brokenhearted you were or how it have kind of shaped the way you are in relationships and stuff like that, rather than, yeah, it was a really big ego blow and I kind of took it personally.
Well, you know, Nick has never been one for his, you know, he tries to make those profound statements and
right?
Can't do it.
No.
So he just doesn't know how to communicate very well.
So then he's talking to her and he says this whole thing about how she's the other half of him. And then he's stumbling over his words and he says he has a childlike sense of wonder.
That just means he's not mature.
We get to the dinner and, you know, he brings out the storybook and they talk about the whole fantasy suite thing. And I don't want this to be just another kind of Nikki Juan Pablo situation where all the girls in the house saw who Nikki really was and Juan Pablo didn't get to see that side of her.
And then he chose her,
And then he chose her in the end. And so my biggest fear, and I mean biggest, like, this will keep me up at night. Please don't choose Nick. And what is it about them leaning against trees? Is it the height differential that they're trying to even out a little bit? Because I know he's really tall.
Well, he's not that much taller than Andi.
We have seen them make out against trees more times than I care to count.
Well, you know what? Maybe he's just lazy. He doesn't want to stand up. So if he leans against something...
I love it. I choose lazy over everything else we've talked about.
I think it's lazy. Like, I'll just lean against this tree and I don't have to do much.
Yeah, I don't even have to try to figure out what I want to say.
Well, then the fantasy suite card gets brought out by Andi.
Yeah, what'd you think about that whole discussion?
Where she asked him what he thought about going or something.
Yeah.
He didn't get around to the point of just saying yes or no. I don't even know what he was saying anymore. And then Andi was like, well, are you trying to say yes? Or is that a long version of, you know?
Yeah.
It took him a really long time to get around to his point.
Yeah.
He can't go in a straight line. It's all these tangential paths that he takes. Come on, just say yes. You obviously want to. You're such a horn dog.
It's just our distaste for him that nothing that he does will ever satisfy us or make us like him.
No.
Essentially.
Absolutely not.
Okay, and one last comment about Nick, and then we've got to move on.
Sure. Yes.
Pink pants? Really? Pink pants!
They were kind of like capris.
Pink pants.
He has a weird sense of style. Well, and then we can't miss the fact that Nick finally tells Andi that he loves her.
Did that take like 10 minutes for him to get that out of his mouth?
Goodness gracious.
I was sweating.
It was this whole, I love what I know about you. And that you're this. And that you're that.
Totally dancing around it. Yeah, just get it out. Say it.
That took forever. But Andi ate it all up anyways. And
She
I'm sure
did.
she wanted to go hang out in the suite to see what she could potentially be working with if she ends up, you know.
Yes. Did you say potentially working with?
Yes. What she could potentially work with from here on out.
Okay. All right. Enough speculation.
We shouldn't do that anymore. But we do. And it's fun.
Can we move on to Josh, please?
Yes.
All right.
So this time she meets him in Santo Domingo, and can I just say, distracting fashion alert?
All of it was distracting.
Well, it gets worse from here on out, but she's wearing this cute little top, I think it was yellow or something, but the shorts were kind of like, wait, what? I was like, are you wearing running shorts with little pockets with zippers? Because it doesn't look like you're running.
They were fabric and kind of scalloped.
Yeah, it was like a little slit on the side. It's like, what? No.
It was weird. But Josh, hot. As always.
Of course.
And please, did they really need to stop by the aphrodisiac juice stand? These guys don't need any help. I'm sorry.
But I thought it was cute. Yeah, and the fact that Josh speaks some Spanish, fantastic. Here's my clue that she's really into Josh because she keeps talking about what she wants to hear more from Josh about what he's feeling. I'm thinking, where have you been this whole season, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because she seems to be always harping on this, like she needs to know what Josh is feeling for her and how, what are his feelings and she's always going back to that. So the fact that she's done this several times, it's given me a clue that she's feeling more for Josh than the others, and she wants to kind of confirm that he's on the same wavelength as she is.
You are so right on.
I will give Josh props for always being open.
Yeah.
She hasn't had to really keep asking him questions like, well, tell me what you're thinking about me. Tell me what you're feeling. He pretty much brings it up on his own.
Enough about you. How do you feel about me?
Right. So, it's like the fact that Andi keeps going on and on and on about this, like every single episode, it's like, okay.
You know what? You're right.
She's more invested in this than she's letting on.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens at the finale, huh? Oh, hey, before we even get into the baseball, can I just say that I love that Josh was up for dancing and trying to dance with her when they came across some little performance in the plaza.
Right.
Okay, he's not the best dancer, but I do give him props for trying.
Exactly.
And just getting down.
And not caring. I loved it when she said he doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's just going to do it and have fun, right?
Absolutely.
I personally am always worried about making a complete fool out of myself. Okay, so they go to the baseball mound, and I love this because, she is really thinking about what he likes, and she's paying attention to that, which I thought was cool.
Most definitely. See, another clue that she's way into him.
Right? Gosh, Izzy, you're so right. They're setting it so up for Nick that I'm torn. I'm devastated, excited, all at the same time.
I think it's going to be Josh because, of course.
Oh, God. If she picks Nick, I will so not watch this show till next season. I loved it when he said he's beyond in love with her. Can you imagine having Josh say that to you?
God, I'd eat it all up and then some. He slips in that he loves her, and then he says it about 2 more times, which I think was awesome.
Yes.
Did you notice that Andi was just gushing to the camera after this?
Totally!
Compared to when Nick told her that he loved her.
She had the cheesy grin, but with Josh, it is a beam.
Absolutely. Thank you.
She's beaming. So, what did you think about their dinner that night?
She wanted to know if he was serious about marriage.
And I loved that they went there.
I like that they discussed their first impressions of each other, especially when she was saying, I thought you were kind of arrogant and cocky. And he's like,
That's what most people think.
And I did like when they started talking about what kind of dad he would be.
Oh, so
if he'd be protective
cute.
And everything. I loved his answer.
Yeah. I just feel like with this date, there was no more questioning for her as to where he was.
Absolutely not.
I mean, he actually said he does love her and he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. How awesome is that?
Well, that's what she wants to hear. And she's been wanting to hear that from Josh the entire time.
Exactly. So he's always happy with her. He sees her as his wife. I mean, he just laid it out there.
And I like the fact that Andi said, I will be difficult. And Josh was like, that's okay. I've already seen that. And we've moved past it and we've worked it out.
They've seen that in each other. They've had those uncomfortable kind of awkward misunderstandings.
He became difficult, too, with the Italy and the lie detector test.
Right.
They've kind of had their little tiffs, if you can call it that. But
I gotta say, the fireworks weren't just only in the sky.
No.
Okay, so now we get to Chris's date.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, the one thing that stood out to me about this is she kept saying she didn't know if they were at the place where they could spend the night together. What is she talking about?
Well, either she was completely spoiled by Josh the night before.
And by spoiled, you mean...
Expectations were set very, very high.
Okay. Let's just go with that. Expectations were high.
Well, here's my thought.
What's your thought?
Well, okay. In terms of how the hometown dates were showed last week.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that's the order that they were filmed in, right?
Oh, no. Totally not.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if her hometown date with Chris occurred before she had time to spend...
Maybe like the first one or something.
It could have been, and as lovely as it was, and as lovely as his family is, and they were fantastic, I will say.
Yeah.
It makes it seem as if Chris was...
in the forefront, yeah.
For all we know, she could have gone to Iowa first.
That's true.
And then to Marcus, and then, kind of worked her way across the country in that sense.
Man, you are bringing up some good points tonight, Izzy.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just like, she had a great time, but then as she spent time with the other guys.
Yeah.
Then she started to kind of think, well, considering where she's at with Chris, and as lovely as he is, it's probably not on the same level as a Josh or a Nick. Okay, I just have to say this, and I don't know how much Spanish you know. So they go to the Rancho Peligro, which peligro in Spanish means danger.
Are you serious?
Yes. When I saw the name of the ranch, I thought, ooh, that's ominous.
Is that foreshadowing? Like, what is going on?
It's a sign.
Yeah, I mean, she ends up telling him that she loved his family and, you know, his sisters were tough, but they were fun. Mm-hmm. And then she says his was the best family that she'd ever met. Well, that's a bold statement. The best family she's ever met?
Well, I guess compared to Nick's family because of, I don't know, like the 100 people in the house.
Yeah, that's true. It's like Stadium Family. Yeah, I totally
exactly.
I get
they
that.
needed bleachers in a living room or something to fit everyone.
Yes. Yeah, and she told him about her talk with his mom, you know, how much she liked that and just that she was so sweet. And she tells him that she loves Ghost in the Graveyard, which was hilarious. But then, and I can't remember if this was at the dinner or not, but when she said she just doesn't know, and he turns to her and says, "Where is your gut right now?" Do you remember what she said? Honestly, it's a struggle. Dude, no guy wants to hear that.
No, certainly not.
She kind of had the same face as she did with
Cody?
With Cody. Oh, it was a Cody flashback. And I thought to myself, oh no, she's gonna send him home. Izzy, help me understand this. How do you have a guy with all of the qualities that Chris has? He's so cute. He's so kind. All of that stuff. And then you keep talking about how you're going to blame it on Iowa?
Well, even she said, I'm not trying to blame it on Iowa.
But yet she kept saying it.
Maybe she just didn't say it the right way. I mean, we know that Andi is not the best person to discuss her feelings.
I was crushed for Chris. It was awful. I respected, of course, what he said because he said, why question your feelings? You know, if your head and your heart don't match up, which is what she was saying, she essentially did the right thing in sending him home. You know, and he said that he felt lucky that she cared enough about him to do that.
True.
Which just proves that Chris is a class act.
Oh, what he totally said. He's like, I want you to have feelings for me, but if you don't, you just send me home.
And when he said, I want to be with someone who's excited to be around me.
Absolutely.
I want that for him too. We said goodbye to Chris and I'm just devastated. I'm sorry.
I was expecting full-on tears, and I don't even think I saw a tear drop or roll down his face at all.
The eyes were welling up.
Oh, the eyes were welling up, but I didn't see like the full breakdown with the crying and the, you know, like his face is all wet and his nose is running.
He's not Marcus.
No, he's not.
But he was trying, you know, you could see the quivering chin and you could see that he was really feeling it. And
he was trying to hold it back too.
Yeah, it was just so sad.
I know.
I love Chris.
I know you did. So while they're on their date after their horse ride and they're talking about her visit to Iowa and the, you know, riding the tractor and that whole bit, and Chris said something, I don't know if you caught it. He goes, I loved when you just hopped on my lap and went to town. I was like, I remember thinking, Chris...
Gosh. Right?
That's going to mean something totally different to the viewers.
I know. But I love the fact that was sweet to him, right? He just thought that was awesome because can't you see him doing that with whoever he ends up being with?
Of course.
Whatever woman is lucky enough to get to be with this guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here's my thing. If Chris were the next Bachelor, I would not be upset.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I want him to find love.
Oh, you're so earnest. I love it, Liz.
I know. I can't help myself. Even if she picks Nick and I'm devastated, I will still watch next season.
You know, I really think she's going to pick Josh.
Ugh, I hope so. Please. We conclude all the dates and we get to the point where she's already sent Chris home. That was totally sad. And then
it was.
She decides to do, you know, a little chat with Chris Harrison, of course, and do the rose ceremony anyway, because I think that's really important. At this point, she needs to know that they're in this with her, right?
Oh, of course. That's why he said, well, do you still want to do that? Exactly.
Exactly. And fashion alert number 613...
Thank you. I was just about to say that.
What was that ridiculously unflattering dress.
Thank you.
Okay, great color for her.
The neckline was cute.
Neckline was cute.
Yes, but the flowing thing, it just does nothing for her.
It filled up with air all the time, and they were at the beach, so she just looked like a giant...
She looked like a big floating moo-moo. I think it would have been better if the cut was a little bit closer to her, because it was too billowy.
Tapered at the waist and billow out at the bottom. And if it's going to be loose and flowy, don't use it in a place where there's a consistent breeze.
Oh, God.
That's just a recipe for disaster. She's only got 2 roses to give out, and they show her looking at Josh, looking at Nick, looking back at Josh, and then calling Nick's name. Did you see?
I didn't notice that. I'll have
Josh's
to go back.
face? Oh my gosh. It was kind of like, did you really just do that? It was just weird. Yeah, I felt for him in that moment, and... yeah, of course, Nick accepted the rose.
Well, duh. He's very confident that he's going to be the last man standing.
I know. Why?
What the hell kind of pants was Nick wearing? You know, from the car, and he walked with the fearless host to the rose ceremony deal. I was thinking, okay, dude, that's fine if you want to wear your skinny pants, but make sure they go below your ankle.
Yeah, no. Between the pink pants and the multicolored baseball shirt, Nick does not get my vote for anything, including fashion.
I think I've noticed for the first time, well, maybe I caught it before at their date too, but Josh has an ass, which is all good. So, and you know who it reminds me of? I don't know if you've been paying attention to any kind of the World Cup stuff. He has an ass like the Brazilian soccer player Hulk.
I don't know who Hulk is. All I know is Josh could wear a paper sack and look great. So... that's my personal opinion.
Okay.
I'm still really sad about Chris, but if they make him the Bachelor, then everything will be okay.
All is well with the world?
All is well with the world, Izzy.
Good. That's good.
So next week they're going to do the Men Tell All. Mm-hmm. Super excited about that because I think it's going to be dishy.
I'm looking forward to hearing what the guys have to say.
Well, I can't wait to see what goes on with Andrew.
Mm-hmm. Smarmy Andrew.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Chris is going to be there so they can ask him how he's doing.
Maybe they'll take that chance to announce him as the next Bachelor.
That's what I'm hoping from your lips to God's ears and the head honchos at ABC.
Of course.
That's our time for today. You can follow us on Twitter at didthelletteru watch it. You can also find us at iTunes. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening.